The popular ride-sharing app Uber has been under fire in markets from Quebec all the way to the United Kingdom. Now, one of its rivals is planning to move into Uber's biggest Canadian market, Toronto. Lyft has chosen Toronto as its first market expansion outside of the United States. Lyft plans to launch in the city by the end of the year and is starting the process of recruiting Lyft drivers today. Investor projections show the company is on track to own about a third of the American sharing market by the end of December. For more on the implications, though, of Lyft coming to Canada, Kristine Hubbard is my guest. She is the operations manager for Beck's Taxi in downtown Toronto. Beck, by the way, is the biggest taxi company in the country. Good to have you on. Thank you for this today.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you make of Lyft coming to Toronto and perhaps elsewhere in Canada? What are the implications for your industry?
Well, I think mostly I can talk about Toronto. I think that it's a really interesting time for them to announce their arrival when we are in our city trying to combat traffic and congestion the way that we are. Studies have shown that Uber and Lyft are adding to traffic and congestion. They're pulling away people from mass transit. And so I've got problems not only as a person who works in the taxi or transportation industry, but also as a person who lives here.
I'm curious whether the Lyft model is anything different than the Uber model, if there's anything that is more either attractive or more acceptable to your industry from Lyft than Uber.
Well, I think that would be up to the City of Toronto. I think the unlimited number of vehicles that they would allow obviously is not something we're interested in seeing happen here. But from my understanding, Lyft is known to treat their drivers better than Uber does. We have welcomed actually quite a few Uber drivers that have gone through our Centennial College training course. We are the only ones who are requiring mandatory training at this time. They're coming to Beck. They're driving taxis. These are not people who are offering ride sharing services. They're taxi drivers, just under a different name.
There's something else I want to get your take on, which is that there are critics now of Uber and no doubt Lyft who have said they've noticed a deterioration in the service over the past couple of years as more and more people are now driving for these two different companies and perhaps don't know the cities in which they drive, or the quality of service is eroding. Is that something that you have heard about?
Absolutely. It was totally predictable. I mean, again, it is a taxi service, and I think that when it was introduced, it was sort of new and exciting. I mean, this technology is not new anymore. Uber, for example, launched in Toronto 5 years ago, just after Beck introduced the first taxi ordering app. But that is not new technology. It's not disruptive in any way other than the fact that Uber, as an example, is bringing in 30,000 cars from outside of our city, cruising our streets. And yeah, these people are not trained. They don't know their way around these cities. Where taxi drivers are offering a professional service, these are people who live in and work in these streets and are committed to providing professional service.
All right, let me be devil's advocate now, Kristine, and ask you the following. Your grandfather founded Beck Taxi a long, long time ago. You know the industry very well. Are you guys fighting a losing battle, though, in the taxi industry when you see things like Uber and Lyft coming along? And, I mean, they don't seem to be going anywhere. What does it mean for your industry?
Yeah, they aren't going anywhere after 5 years. We haven't gone anywhere after 50 years. New technology and challenges have been faced by our industry all along. And I'd say this may not be the biggest challenge we've faced in this city, for example, but we're here for the long haul. We've got all the technology that everybody wants. You can track your driver, pay in the app, rate your ride after. We have all of that. What we are that's different is committed to the city and offering a professional service, making sure drivers are trained, ensuring that cars are being inspected, not just random safety certificates. We are committed to it. And I think that quality is the thing that's going to outlast anything else.
I wonder if there's also a silver lining here with Uber and Lyft and others where it has pushed the taxi industry to become better, more competitive, clean up the cars, more training for the drivers, offer a better service as well. Is that possible?
I think competition always does that. I think that's the nature of competition. It encourages everyone to do a better job. And absolutely, I mean, things that we had been promoting all along, we were able to push for those things even more when Uber came. I do think there is a reintroduction, a reminder, if you might, that all we have is customer service. That's all that this industry has. And drivers, did enjoy a bit of protection. I think probably that maybe they took for granted there for a while. And we've been able to sort of rally the troops and get those messages out and clean cars, inspected vehicles, trained drivers, just assistance and offering services that people need, wheelchair accessible service, just for anyone, whether they have a smartphone or not, whether or not they want to put a credit card into an app. Beck Taxi will be here for the people in the city, and we're very, very happy to continue competing.
I know it's busy. Thank you for taking the time to get to our studios today, Kristine. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, too. Thank you.